The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Tuesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I'm Anthony Hartwig, and I am extremely thrown off by the fact that we didn't have any games last night. That is why I totally messed up the day of the week. This episode is every episode brought to you once again by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. We're going to put their logo up in the corner like we always do. Top right-hand corner, so you know exactly where to go. If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, head over to Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No one will treat you better. And we thank them for their constant sponsorship of everything that we do here at YSN. Got a little bit of a show for you today. It's going to be a fun one. We're going to have 2 interviews played to kind of make up for the fact that we didn't have a lot of games last night. We had a couple that we're going to recap, obviously. We're going to play 2 interviews for you. That's going to be Addie Craven, sophomore from West Branch, sophomore standout, I should say. And then we're also going to have played for you today Bree McCombs, junior from McDonald softball as well. Gonna have the fun with those interviews, and then we're gonna preview what's going on tonight. It's kind of hit and miss. There are some teams that are trying to hang on, some teams that are still dealing with field issues from last night. It obviously froze overnight, so there are some fields that are not exactly in great condition that unfortunately had to be canceled for today, but some teams are holding on to that hope and not being bothered by the cold. So we'll go over what games are and are happening. We'll give those updates a little bit longer before we get to that, and hopefully we'll have a big picture of what is and isn't happening by the end portion of the show as we roll through this cold Tuesday afternoon. I took my dog out about an hour ago, and when I say cold, temperature might say 38, but when that wind hits you, it's feeling like it's like 21 or 22 out there. It's not a fun temperature when you talk about our bodies starting to get used to the warmth a little bit. We had a weekend where it was hot enough to sunburn, and then all of a sudden here we are sitting at 38 degrees with a wind chill of 20s, and I'm like, not fun. But there are games to be had. So if there are games, we'll bundle up so you don't have to, and we'll get out there. We'll broadcast them. I'm scheduled to be at Canfield tonight for softball. That's still a go. So I'm going to put on my triple layered, got the hoodie, got the long sleeve underneath it, got a jacket over that. I'll put on my YSN wool hat, and we'll have some fun. Let's get to the recaps of the games that happened last night. Let's see what did happen. We'll go to our scoreboard and our YSN graphics page. We had 4 finals come in from last night. Down in Columbiana County, they don't care about the cold. They want to play baseball. They've seen it before. 9-5, United gets the win over Southern Local in that matchup. Canfield wasn't bothered by the cold at all either. They get the win over Howland on the baseball side of things, 8-4. Interesting tidbit about this matchup too, because softball was ready to play. They were out there. The team showed up. They were going to play at Canfield, and then I got a text from Coach Kernan because they were scheduled. It was never canceled on Arbiter, and I texted him. I said, did you guys play? Because you never went live on Game Changer, and I can't find a score." They showed up, they were ready to go, and then about 10 minutes, they were like 10 minutes into being ready to go. I don't think the game actually started, but like 10 minutes into, doing the field, doing the coaches meeting, it started to not just rain, but hail and snow. And Canfield and Howland said, "Hail no," and got out of there. And they will play tonight at Canfield. They still have they still have to make up the obviously the second game of that series. Howland's actually hoping probably that it will be a home game for them. Now that it was going to be a home at Niles, it got moved to Canfield, so they were going to play last night at Canfield with Howland being the home team. Tonight is Canfield's scheduled day to be the home team. So it'll be Canfield tonight batting in the bottom of the innings. Canfield baseball, though, they got the win last night 8-4 over the Tigers. They will play at Scene tonight at 5 o'clock. I think it's the only game that will be at Scene tonight between the Cardinals and the Tigers, round 2. Jefferson still got a game in as they got it in right in time, because what I've seen from Ashtabula County is a lot of snow, a lot of cold up there. We got a picture from Edgewood, live in Edgewood. You can find it on our Twitter page. Oh my word. It is like snow on the ground, like at least an inch of snow on the field. Obviously, no one's playing in Ashtabula today, but Jefferson was able to beat that out and get a win last night in the conference, 6-2 over Struthers. The Falcons win. Edison softball also was in action, 8-5. They win over Harrison Central. And then the baseball side of things, Edison fell to Harrison Central, 6-1. So those were your final scores from last night. Just 4 finals came in, but that's better than 0, right? That means we still got some games in. There were some teams that were able to find a little pocket of dryness and a field condition that were able to play. And then, of course, the night came and we got more rain, more snow, and we'll see what happens today. We still have some games, like I said, that are canceled, some games that are still happening, and we're going to give that about another, what, 45 minutes before we update you guys, that way we have the most up to date look on what's canceled and what's not. So we'll have that at the end of the show. But those were the finals today. Without further ado, we have 2 interviews to get to, so I want to get to them because like yesterday I made the mistake of talking way too much and had to push one of those interviews to today. So we're going to get to it, so we make sure we do. We're going to hear from Addie Craven, a sophomore from West Branch softball. Hope you enjoy this interview. She had a breakout year last year as a freshman. We talked about that, what it was like to step into the varsity level last year, what it's like to be coached by Coach Woods, who started this program and hasn't let go of it. Still the head coach down there at West Branch. He has put in more time than I think anybody on the softball side of things at the one school. And then, it's a great conversation about the going from a senior-led team last year to trying to be underclassman leader this year with a really young roster down there at West Branch. They're trying to get through it. So we'll let you hear that, and we hope you enjoy this conversation with Addie Craven from West Branch. Anthony Harwig here with another West Branch softball player profile. First time getting able to catch up with this team this season. I'm joined by Addie Craven. Addie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Not a freshman anymore. You have finally in your second year. What's it like kind of seeing the development that you've had from year 1 to year 2 now that you're in your second season?
I mean, definitely last year was a learning experience, but we had a lot of seniors to help us. I mean, there were 4 of us, and now we only have 1 senior, which as a sophomore, we have a little bit of a bigger role, leading a little bit more and just trying to help everyone as much as we can.
When you look back on last year, you were able to come on and make an immediate impact on this team as a freshman, and you weren't the only one. There are a lot of freshmen on that team that were able to come in and make an immediate impact. What do you think were some of the really big keys to being able to do that and being able to be confident in your own abilities, even as a freshman last year?
And we all play softball all year. We all have played together our whole lives, and just really comfortable with the group of seniors we had, and just knowing that we know how to play the game and we trust each other and just playing our positions like we know we can.
Like you said, this year only one senior, which means a lot of you guys that have been there and done it on this varsity level are asked to be leaders. Even as a sophomore, you have a leadership role. What has that been like for you to kind of build up these players that maybe be stepping into new varsity roles or stepping into bigger roles in the team and trying to bring them along with you guys?
I mean, definitely hard because, I mean, freshmen are looking up to sophomores and, even juniors who weren't on varsity last year. But, I mean, just doing the best we can. We're all super close and we all trust each other, and everyone's leading, no matter if they were on varsity last year or not.
We've been to West Branch games this year. The one thing that you can't say about this team is they don't have personality in that dugout. I mean, um, what do you think from your perspective is a personality of this team, and what do you think makes this team so unique from other softball teams?
I mean, definitely our age. I mean, we're all sophomores. I mean, one senior, a few juniors, one freshman. I mean, we definitely talk a lot and we love to have fun outside of softball too. And, just we love to have a good time.
This isn't to like discredit this season, but how cool is it to know that the work you put in this year, and then when you get back next year as well, almost everybody, just that one senior graduating. So next year you're gonna have basically the same roster coming back. So it's almost like a 2 year window for you guys. What's it like with that perspective?
I mean, it's definitely going to be a lot easier next year, and there's some good freshmen that will be coming out next year. I mean, we're going to have to just keep working as hard because other teams are going to be getting better as well, but just putting in the work over the winter and over the summer as well, and just, being prepared for next season.
So as we brought up in the top, it's year 2. What are some things that you think you've really grown in from last year to this year when you watch your game and you look at the way you play softball?
Probably my confidence, honestly. I mean, last year I was a freshman. I mean, was a little like timid at first, but you got more comfortable. But this year, I just have to tell myself, like you have to step it up a little bit and, just be confident when I'm getting the box or, the ball's hit to me, just confidence.
This year, you are smack dab in the middle of that lineup, usually in the 3 or 4 spot. That means a lot of responsibilities and a lot of opportunities for you when you get to the plate. What's that been like, knowing that the coaching staff that puts together the lineup trusts you to come up in big situations for this team?
I mean, it feels great, helps with your confidence, but, I just tell myself, try and make something happen, score in the first inning, just put the ball in play and score first.
What's your personal hitting routine? Everyone has one. So when you're going up to the plate, what are some things that you do to put yourself in the right mindset?
I talk to my bat when I get up there, and I tell myself like what pitch to look to, and just take a deep breath before I get in, and tell myself just hit the ball hard, make the mistakes.
All right, so you're going up to the plate, you're talking to your bat. What's that conversation like? What are you telling it?
Just hit the ball hard.
Does it ever talk back?
No, not usually.
That's a good thing, because if it starts talking back, then something might be going wrong.
Yeah.
When you think about the coaching staff you're under, you are coached by one of the legends of the game that's been doing it for so long, and Coach Woods. What's that been like the last 2 years to be with this coaching staff and to be under them and be taught by them?
Oh, I love playing for Coach Woods. She's such a great coach, and she's just knowing that she started the program, like 37 years ago, and knowing that every softball player that's worn that West Branch jersey has played for her. It's awesome.
One of the things that people might overlook, I mean, when you're coaching for that long, you obviously have a huge love for the sport. When you see her love for the game of softball, does that make it easier for you guys to enjoy it and love what you're doing out there?
Yes, and just knowing that, Coach Wood still goes down to Florida and plays softball. So just knowing that she's still doing it after all these years, it really shows like her love and dedication for the sport, and it makes you look at it in a different way.
We only get to see her in the games, in the dugout, and on the baselines. What's something that people that don't go to games and don't get to be with her every day, do you think don't know that probably should know about Coach Woods?
Coach Woods is so funny. She loves to joke and have a good time at practice, and she loves a good joke.
Is she the one cracking it, or does she just take jokes pretty well?
No, she has a joke and a smart comment about everything.
Who matches that energy on the team? Who's the like the best joker on the team?
Probably Clary. She's funny, and then we all go at it, and even the other coaches make jokes with her.
When you launch this team, and obviously, like you said, a young roster that's learning a lot this year, what's it been like navigating this season? I know there have been ups and downs for you guys. You've been able to have really good games, really, and then dips in the production. What's that been like trying to navigate that and trying to find a stride with this young team?
I mean, it's obviously frustrating because we know how capable we are and we know what we can do, but you just got to keep working hard at practice, and we have been working really hard at practice and just doing like the drills and the little things, and we've talked about it and we know what we're doing, and once we start it, all the pieces will go together and everything will work.
This sport, it's built to make you fail. You're gonna have your bad days. What do you do to kind of navigate that and not ride the roller coaster that softball can take you on if you let it?
I try to just leave it all at the field. I mean, when you have a good day, you're gonna think about it, but when you have a bad day, you gotta let it go. And we high school softball, you're playing almost every day of the week, so you just can't let a bad game carry next.
You poured so much into softball. Like you said, you played all year round. You put your heart and soul into the sport. What makes it easy to do that? What are some things about the sport that make it easy to give it your time and your abilities?
Just having fun and being with all your friends. Honestly, I mean, if you're not having fun, then you're probably not playing the right sport.
How much does the off-season softball help you prepare for high school season?
A lot. I mean, it helps with confidence for sure. Just knowing that you work so hard and that if you work that hard, you're going to see results.
When you think about some of the goals you have, not just for this season, but obviously your next 2 years of high school too, you still have a lot of high school ball to play. What are some things that are on your checklist or on your goals sheet when you think about things you want to accomplish?
Definitely, I want to win the league. I want to go far into tournaments, and we really want to beat Marlington.
That's one of those teams that you're aiming for, obviously. When you look at that and the games are coming up, what do you think are some things that are going to be talked about during the practice before that and trying to gear up for that Marlington game?
I mean, we've seen the same pitcher for, she's I want to say a senior or a junior. So we know what to expect. And I think sometimes when we play them, we tend to get in our heads a little bit, but we just need to go out there, be confident, know how we can play, and make the routine plays.
One thing that can't be said about this team is they can't score. I mean, look at the offense you guys are putting up. It seems like every day you're putting up at least 5 runs. What is it about this lineup that is so easy to just pass the bat to the next person and keep the line moving? What do you think is the strength of these bats?
We can all hit and we can all bunt, and I think playing small ball has helped us a lot for sometimes like the pitching, just put a bunt down, and because we're fast, and when someone gets on base, just move them around.
All right, to you, what is the best feeling in softball? I mean, like, is it a great defensive play, a great hit, a great bunt, a great base steal? What is the best feeling in the sport for you?
I'd say hitting people in. I like my team to score, and I like hitting.
When you think about the West Branch community, the one thing that we always talk about with these players that we bring on from West Branch, no matter the sport, is how much this West Branch community backs you guys up. It's really incredible. It's more than a lot of schools, and it's also because you guys are green. You can always find the West Branch fans no matter where you go. What's it like to be backed so much by this West Branch community?
It's great. I mean, every sporting event you go, you see tons of green. There's softball games, baseball games, football games. Everywhere you go, there's West Branch, and it doesn't matter how far the game is. They're all going to be there, and it just sometimes you just have to realize like you're playing for something more than just your team, and also playing for the community as well.
The one thing I love about softball and baseball really is that the fields at baseball and softball, every field's a little bit unique. They all have their own set of ground rules. Every field has some place that makes that player feel like home. What does West Branch softball field? What is it about it that makes it feel like home to you when you're stepping on that field?
Probably just knowing all the legacies and all the past players who have played there, and just when you're younger, I remember in like I was in 5th grade when we were at state, and just knowing like, wow, like that's going to be me someday, just knowing that those girls have played there as well.
You bring up past legacies and players that have put on this jersey and had so much success. I'm interested, when you came in last year, was that ever a form of pressure to say like, hey, I want to live up to this, or was it always just pure motivation and never pressure to kind of live up to the West Branch tradition?
I wouldn't say pressure. I'd just say that, I mean, it gives you something to work for. I mean, you look in our locker room, we have all the previous stats and records, and just looking at them, it's like you want to be up there. And I think it's motivation, honestly, just to work hard, and hopefully that would be you someday.
We've talked about the things that you do for yourself to get out of slumps and to kind of get yourself out of the down days that softball can bring you. But I'm sure there's a lot of outside influences that also give you inspiration and help you, succeed in those moments. Who are some people that you turn to in those down times to kind of get yourself back up and lift you back up when you need it?
Probably my grandpa. He's coached baseball for a long time. He still volunteers here at West. He knows the game more than anyone I know. So, and him and my mom are my biggest supporters. So, I mean, I go to them.
I'm sure there's a lot of pieces of advice that you've gotten from him over the years, but if you had to pick maybe one or two that are the best or the ones that rung the most true to you, what kind of advices would you say come to mind when you think of that?
Probably not to overthink. I mean, I overthink a lot of stuff, and he just tells me that you just got to know that you're good and be confident. And sometimes hearing it from someone who knows the game and has been around the game so much, it means a little bit more.
Okay, before we let you go, let's get to know you a little bit off the field too. And obviously what we like to do here is ask about the student aspect of student athlete to all of our players. What kind of things do you like studying in school? What kind of subjects are you interested in?
I like Spanish and math, and I'd say that's kind of it, honestly.
No, everything else can just go away. What kind of what are the ones that you think you have to work the hardest at, like that you really have to put in the work in to succeed at?
Probably history, honestly. History is hard to me.
Have there been any teachers in your West Branch career that have really impacted your school journey?
My aunt, Mrs. McNeely, I mean, she's not a teacher, but she works in the offices, and I mean, I literally can't imagine going to school without her.
Gotta ask softball players about their walk-up song. What would yours be?
My walk-up song this year is "Run This Town" by Rihanna.
What was it that like everyone has that decision that they have to make? What made that song the one that you wanted to walk up to?
I couldn't decide which song to pick, and then on the bus, every game, I would sing that song, and my teammates were like, "Why isn't this your walk-up song?" So I made a song.
When you think of a softball icks, the thing about like if you see it, it just gives you the chills. What's your softball ick?
Long pants. I don't know what it is. I don't like it.
Players on the team, who is the one player that you would trust the most to be a getaway driver?
Josie Milliken.
Who's the most like scholastic person on the team, the one that takes their studies the most serious?
Bryn Smith.
One player on the team that can make you specifically laugh, no matter what the situation is.
Clary, 100%.
Who is the one that you think is going to be the most likely to succeed in their career after softball?
Probably Bailey Wogman.
Who has the most swag on the team?
McKaylin.
Who do you think spends the most money that they shouldn't on the team, like the most frivolous with their money?
Me, 100%.
What kind of things do you spend your money on? Like what are some things that you look at and say, I probably should not spend as much money on that as I do?
Clothes and like stuff. I mean, I probably have a problem.
I mean, there's that TikTok that's like, I left you alone for 5 seconds and you spent like $100. What's that store that if someone leaves you in, it's over? Like you cannot go in there without spending stuff.
Airy 100. I literally can spend all my money there.
So, put her there if you dare with a credit card. It's gonna be a long day.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, Addie, I want to give you the time to thank your support system and all the people that have been there for you over the years.
I want to thank my mom, my grandparents, all my coaches, and everyone who's been a part of my journey.
All right, Addie, thank you so much for joining us today in the middle of school. We appreciate the time so much. We wish you the best of luck going forward, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you for having me.
That was Addie Craven joining us from West Branch. She's a sophomore standout, was a big member of that team last year that was so successful. And she learned from a lot of seniors last year how to be a leader. So even though she's a sophomore, I think she stepped up and is a big leader of that team. I don't think leadership has an age. I think if you learn how to be a leader and you're vocal and you earn the respect of your team, sometimes we see freshmen be excellent leaders, especially if you're in positions where you have to be. If you're if you're a catcher or a pitcher, I would say shortstop, and maybe you can throw center field in there too, leading the outfield. But definitely like those positions in the game demand leadership. But then we also see just young kids just learn how to be a leader, or maybe they're just good at leadership and they've always been good at leadership. Either way, I think Addie Craven is one of those players that the roster looks to, especially this young West Branch roster that is trying to figure it out a little bit. They lost a lot of seniors last year, a lot of college level players, some that decided to play in college and some that I think could have, but decided that it wasn't for them. So seeing Addie Craven succeed and seeing her lead this team, I think is making me pretty confident in what they're going to do at the end of the season. I'm not going to judge them based on their record. I think they're going to have their lumps. They're going to have their struggles because they're young, and a lot of young teams will. But at the end of the season, they're going to be ready because that schedule that they put together is no joke at all. Their non-conference schedule is tough. Their EBC slate is really hard with Carrollton, Marlington especially. They've just been running softball for the last couple of years, and they have all those seniors that are kind of trying to build their last run. So that's going to be a tough stretch for West Branch. Can't wait to see what they do towards the end of the season. And we thank Addie Craven for her time. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have another one for you. It's going to be Bree McCombs from McDonald. She is a pitcher / first baseman and now an upperclassman as a junior for the Blue Devils. Can't wait to hear from her after this break on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Hi, I want to tell you about my Trish Yearwood home collection available at Sheely's Furniture. With 2 locations serving Ohio and Pennsylvania, Sheely's is one of the country's top sellers of my home collection. And the best part? At Sheely's, you never have to wait for a sale. They offer everyday low pricing as well as a price match guarantee, so you can shop the Trish Yearwood home collection with confidence. Come see my collection with something to offer for every room in your home and get it all with free local delivery, only at Sheely's Furniture.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you as we continue this Tuesday episode, and we will go right into our next pre-recorded interview that we have for today. Bree McCombs, sophomore pitcher and first baseman from McDonald, had a chance to talk with her over the weekend. Can't wait to hear this interview as well and have you guys hear how Bree McCombs has gone from someone that watched a lot of good leaders 2 years ago at McDonald, especially Bree Callow, and gone from that to last year being the ace and having the ace mentality, pitched almost all the innings for McDonald, to this year, now a little bit of both. She's able to step back and watch Isabella O'Brien work and pitch really well, but she's also being able to step in and have ace mentality in her own right as well. They're splitting innings pretty evenly between O'Brien and McCombs. So kind of a funny little dichotomy of how it's how her career has gone with, not really pitching much her freshman year and having Bree Callow do all the work, to being the one that is all on their shoulders here now her sophomore year, and then now in her junior year, both splitting time. So we'll see how that goes this season. McDonald is 9-1 of the year, a great start to the year for the Blue Devils. And we're going to talk to Bree after we're going to hear from Bree, I should say. Already talked with her. So here's the interview with Bree McCombs from McDonald. Anthony Hartwig here with a McDonald softball player profile, the first one of the season. I'm joined by junior Bree McCombs. Bree, how are we doing today? Thanks for coming on.
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
All right, so before I talk to you about this season, I want to rewind the clock back a little bit to last year, because the talk before the season last year, this McDonald program, was obviously what's life gonna be like without Bree Callow in the circle, right? There were a lot of conversations about what's the pitching gonna look like for McDonald, and you stepped into that pitcher's circle and you took that spot and you took that mantle as the one pitcher for McDonald, and you ran with it and pitched them to a very deep tournament run, and you had a lot of success last season. So my question after hearing all that, when you went into last season, what were some of the things that you experienced mentally and confidence wise going in, knowing that you were coming after a really good pitcher before you?
Well, obviously those are big shoes to fill. Bree was an amazing pitcher and an amazing athlete. So going into last season, it was more just so trying to see how far we could push ourselves and see how far we could go just as a team as a whole. Because obviously last year was supposed to be a rebuilding season for us. But I think we surprised a lot of people going as far as we did, and just proving that we are still a strong program with everybody that we had.
So last year, your mindset in the circle, was it more pressure or was it not pressure? Because you didn't have a lot of outside expectations saying that like McDonald was going to be a superstar team in the circle. What was it like to kind of mentally go through that kind of thing last year?
I mean, there was a little bit of pressure just going into it. Obviously, every game has a certain amount of pressure, but I think that for me, it was just kind of playing loose and not playing under like having to fill amount like this big part of like shoes or whatever. So just trying to mentally just like being strong and just playing loose and being there for my team.
You went to an ace mentality. I mean, you were the number one pitcher last year. You were the one they relied on. What was that like, being an ace and being able to be the one that, you're going to get all the innings? It's going to be on you most of the time, especially in big games on the schedule.
I mean, obviously it's a lot of pressure, but it's obviously a lot of praise as well, because being put as the ace, obviously your coach trusts you. My coach, Michelle, trusted me enough to have me pitch in those big games. So I was very thankful for that opportunity to be the ace last year.
And now we fast forward to this season, and man, Isabella O'Brien steps on the scene, and now you have two pitchers that are both ace quality, and you don't have to pitch every inning anymore. You're splitting it pretty evenly with Bella. What's that been like to have another girl in the circle to take pressure off of you this year so far?
It's been amazing to have Bella. She's an amazing pitcher and an amazing athlete. So having somebody else to carry the load is just nice to have, not having to feel like you have all the pressure to pitch every single game. So it was really nice to have Bella this year.
How have you kept that ace mentality that you built last year when it was a lot on your shoulders into this year, even though the innings wise, it's not on your shoulders? When you go out to pitch, how do you keep that ace mentality that you had last year?
Obviously, a lot of it helps. Travel helps build that mentality of being strong and being the ace, but also just going back to like the foundation that I have from my pitching lessons. So just keeping mentally strong there. Aaron puts me in a lot of circumstances where I have to be mentally strong with the drills that I do. So just keeping that mentality from practice to games.
I've had the chance to talk with a lot of people that have coached you in travel, and they can't speak highly enough about the development that you've shown over the last 3 or 4 years in your pitching and the work that you put into that. When you kind of look at that and you reflect on all the developments you have been able to make in your pitching, what makes you the most proud that you've been able to do all that?
I think what makes me the most proud is probably just how much I've grown as an athlete and how much I've grown as a pitcher. I gained approximately 8 miles an hour from my freshman year to my sophomore year, which was a big jump for me. So just probably mostly.
What was the big key to doing that, to being able to, like you said, add 8 miles an hour to your pitches between freshman and sophomore year?
I started pitching twice a week, and just the amount of reps that I put in and just kept working on it. I worked on it outside of lessons, and just doing it a bunch helped build my stamina and helped build my velocity. So I think just the work outside.
To do that, to get those reps, to put that time in, something had to click to say, okay, I really want to start taking this seriously. I really want to start putting my time and effort into softball. What made that decision for you? What was it that said in your mind and in your heart, okay, I have to start really dedicating myself to this sport?
Well, I've always wanted to play college softball, so I think just I've always wanted to play at the highest level that I can. So just working hard to try and get my velocity up to where other pitchers' velocity is to be able to play at that high level. So just probably trying to work as hard as I can to get my velocity higher to play at the highest level that I can.
You talk about playing at the next level, you're a junior, which means this is that big year where you start to look around and coaches start to look at you a little bit more seriously. What's it been like this junior season, knowing that this is kind of like that year where you really get to show off yourself a little bit and really get to open the eyes of coaches at the next level?
It's an exciting time. It's a little bit stressful, obviously, but it's really exciting to be able to start talking to coaches and just talking to the college athletes that are at the schools that I want to go to. So just talking to them is nice to hear the things that they have been looking at me for. So just that experience in itself is really nice.
You've been thinking about that for a long time, so I'm sure you've been also thinking about what you want out of a college and what you want out of a program. What kind of things come to mind when you're looking at who you want to play for? What kind of things do you look for in that?
Well, I obviously look for what if they have my program that I want to go into and like the type of campus that I want to go to. I want to stay closer to my family because obviously I'm very family oriented. So just close enough to my family and just having the surroundings that I would want and just the program that I would like.
You talked about the program and the major you want to go into. Have you already made that decision of what you want to study in college?
I have a general idea of what I want to do. I want to try and do something in the medical field. So either like physical therapy or something, or go to med school or something like that.
I mean, you talk about balancing that and being an athlete. That's going to take a lot of time management, but you've already developed that with being an athlete here in high school level. What kind of things have helped you develop your time management skills?
Well, I write down what I do every single day. I have a planner that I plan out my whole day, like from my first period English class to my last period government class. I have all my homework in there, and then I have softball scheduled out after that. If we have a game, what time practice goes to. If I have a lesson right after practice, writing it all down really just helps me keep it all organized.
Now, you are not the first athlete that we've interviewed that has used that kind of strategy to keep themselves organized. And the question I always ask when that's the answer is, have you always been that way? Have you always been that organized? Or was there a moment in your high school or before that career where you said, like, okay, I really got to organize myself if I want to succeed? Have you always been like that, or did you grow into that organization skills?
I kind of grew into those organization skills whenever COVID happened. My freshman year, we had cohorts. So 2 days we went to school and 3 days I didn't, and then it would switch each week. So I needed to keep myself organized while I was at home, because while I'm at home learning, I really didn't want to learn, but I obviously had to. So I just tried to write it all down, and it actually helped me a lot. So I've just been keeping that organization sense through my junior year.
All right, let's get to know you a little bit off the field. You talked about how family oriented you are. What is it about your family that that you think makes it unique to others, and you think is so special about the family that you do have?
Well, my dad, he catches me every single lesson. He puts in just as much work as I do, so I spend a lot of time with him. And my mom is always supporting me whenever I come home from school. She helps me with all of my schoolwork, and she just helps me every single time that I need something. And my brother, Hunter, he goes to Kent, and obviously that's a little bit farther away from us. So he tries to come to every game, and he tries to get out of school and just come to and support me through everything.
So many softball players we need for you. I love talking about the dad coaches and the relationships that you have with so many players have with their dads who have either coached them or at least caught them and helped them in their journey. What's that been like for you? Like you said, your dad's been catching you so much throughout your career. What's that like to have him by your side? He can help you in the stuff that you need help with. He can try to coach you when he can. What's that been like for you?
Well, my dad, I've been pitching since I was 8 years old. So he obviously knows because he's been catching me since I was 8. He knows whenever something's going wrong. And it's nice to have, like, if I can't figure it out, I'll ask him, be like, what am I doing wrong? He'll tell me this, that, and this, and I can fix it immediately. So it's really nice to have somebody with another set of eyes helping me throughout my games.
Now, did he pick up softball when you got into it, or was he already into softball or baseball, whatever it may be, when you started it as an 8-year-old?
He was into it a little bit before. He helped coach a rec team, I think, in McDonald because he grew up in McDonald. So he helps coach a rec team whenever he was like 20. So he was kind of into it before I even started.
One of the big social media questions for softball right now trending is, what's your softball ick? Everyone seems to have one nowadays. What's yours? What's the one thing that you see on a softball field that just gives you those heebie-jeebies or the goosebumps?
I think it's when people step on the line. It just messes up the juju for the game. It just doesn't go well with me.
That's one of those tell me you're not a softball player without telling me you're not a softball player kind of situations. When you think about role models in the game of softball, who were some players that you looked up to when you were growing up that you wanted to be like?
Obviously, my pitching coach, Erin Gabriel, she's a big role model for me. She's a great person to come to with every question that I had, every question that I do have, even if they're not the best questions to ask. I'll text her my questions and she'll answer me immediately. She's a great role model. And then obviously some players that we've had through our program, like Lucy Wolford, she's a great leader. She was our shortstop. She was a phenomenal player, and she was a great person to just have on the team. And then Bree Callow, obviously another great leader, great athlete. And then Megan Moore, obviously, she's a great person to have that came through our program. So she was a great role model to look up to and to aspire to be.
Oh my gosh, got to talk about Erin a little bit, because I mean, having a pitching coach like that, there's not one better in the area, not someone better that you can learn from than someone that has pitched in World Series, pitched in SEC championships, things like that. What kind of things have you learned from being able to be coached by Erin over the last couple of years?
I think just being mentally tough. She always helps me strengthen my mental game. And she also fixed a bunch of the mechanical issues that I had before I came. So I love going to Erin so much. She's a great person. I love her. And she's just a great person to have in my corner. She's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
What does it mean to you? Like, not just Erin, but the other players you mentioned, Lucy and Bree and Megan and all those players that have come through McDonald, and now Erin as well, who obviously had a great career in this area of Poland. They're all giving back to softball in this area in any way they can, whether they're still playing in college and try to get back here, or like Erin, she's already graduated from college and now is coaching here. What's it mean to you as someone that's playing softball right now to see these kind of legends of the past in the area give back to softball in the area when they can?
I mean, it's great to see. It's great to see the game of softball grow. Like, I've seen so many people just coming to lessons now, and it's great to see how many people want to get into the game, even if they have never been into it before. So seeing all these younger people and even kids my age want to start getting into the game because they're looking up to these people is just so nice to see. And I love watching the game grow because of the leaders that we have.
All right, if you could be at one softball venue, like one place to watch a game, what's your bucket list place to go?
Probably Oklahoma City. Go watch the World Series. Go watch all of those amazing teams play. That's probably my bucket list place to go.
As long as you take me with you. That's all I ask. Because that's on mine too. When you think of some of the things that you've learned about how to be a leader, you brought up Lucy's leadership, and you brought up Megan's leadership in the past at McDonald. Now that you're a leader, you're a junior, you're an upperclassman, you have to be a leader. How do you contribute as a leader on this team?
I think of how I contribute is if I see somebody down, I go over and I pick them up. I'm like, hey, don't even worry about it. We're going to score a run next inning. Don't even worry about the error, or don't even worry about the last play because we're going to make an even better play this time. So I think just trying to like pick everybody up and like trying to get them like back into themselves, because obviously errors can make you go a little crazy because you're like, I made that play 1,000 times at practice. Why am I not doing it now? Because mistakes happen and we all know that, but it's hard whenever we're in games. So just trying to like, bring them back down from like being crazy about it.
Earlier you talked about mental toughness, and one of the things about mental strength that you have to have as a player when you're putting so much time into softball is that time away from the game. You have to be able to not get yourself gassed out from it. Obviously, you play a lot of softball, not just with high school, but with travel. In those times when you need the break or you need to get away from the game, what kind of things do you do to kind of shut your mind off and take that mental break from yourself?
I like to hang out with my friends and I like to go to the gym with my uncle in the morning. That really helps just get it all out and hang out with people that don't usually play softball or don't like play that type of game like baseball or anything like that, and just talking to them helps get me away from like being crazy about softball.
What's the best hangout when, like you said, you hang out with your friends? Where's the go-to spot?
Well, probably, I think it's mostly Quaker Steak in Austintown. That's where we love to go. That's always our hangout spot.
What about like the team's hangout spot after the game? Big win. You guys got to go celebrate. Where are you going?
B-Dubs in Austintown. Man, we love Austintown. They got a lot of good stuff.
When you think about things that you like to do as far as a ritual, any superstitions that you have on the field, what kind of things come to mind?
If I'm not pitching, if I'm playing first, me and my third baseman, Kayla Helko, she's a great third baseman. We do a little handshake before each inning whenever Bella's warming up. If I'm batting, I'll draw a cross in the dirt and I'll like roll my shoulders back and I'll just get ready to go into the box.
What is your favorite subject in school right now? Obviously, you're a junior. You got one more year left to go. A lot of people say junior year might be one of the hardest years in school. What's some of your favorite things about school and the subjects that you get to learn about?
Right now, I'm in a World War II class, which is really interesting. It's really nice to learn about because obviously we don't obviously hit that curriculum every single class. So that's probably my favorite class right now. I have an amazing teacher, Mr. Bundy. He's an amazing guy, and it's just really interesting.
You might be the first player I've interviewed that chose history. Like, everyone thinks history, oh yeah, I got to memorize a bunch of dates and stuff. I'm not for that. You get to choose history. Are you someone that likes learning about things that happened in the past and likes to learn about things the ways life used to be and things like that?
Yeah, I love learning about history. My brother's going to school to be a history teacher. My family loves history. Most of our vacations will visit at least one historical place. So history's just been in my family for a really long time. So that's probably why it's my favorite.
Well, what is one historical place that you haven't been to that you want to go to?
Well, probably someplace in New York, like the 9/11 memorials. I haven't been to New York, so that's probably on my bucket list.
What about vacation spots that are on your bucket list? What are some places that you guys haven't been yet that you would love to go and vacay at?
I'd love to go to Hawaii. I've never been there before. Some of my friends have been there, and it just looks so beautiful. And I would just love to go there. It's probably my favorite place that I'd want to go.
What is your favorite vacation spot that you've been to?
My favorite vacation spot is probably Myrtle Beach. We have some family down there, so it's going down there and visiting family, and also getting to be by the beach whenever we live in Ohio is really nice.
You're not kidding. That tropical weather can hit really nice, especially when we're supposed to get back to cold weather this week. Ugh, not looking forward to it. Before I let you go, one of the things I want to talk about is the potential of this team. Obviously, you're 9-1 in the season, just suffered the first loss. You're going to bounce right back from it, get back in the league play. Where do you see this team going? Like, what are some of the things that you think this team can really achieve by the end of the season?
I think that we can make it as far as we did last year. I think we still have amazing athletes. We have a great lineup. We have Miley Titus and Kayla Helko, two of our fastest players. Miley's in the outfield, Kayla's at third. So we have some great players. And then G's our third batter, and she plays shortstop for us. So we have a really great defense and a really great offense. So I think that we can make it pretty far just with the amount of athletes that we have on our team. So I think that probably districts and maybe even a little bit more.
All right, Bree, we're hoping for a deep run from McDonald as well. We wish you the best of luck going forward. We love talking to you. We thank you for your time, and we'll see you again real soon.
Thank you for having me.
That was Bree McCombs, the junior at McDonald, taking the time to join us a little bit earlier in the weekend. We thank her for her time. What a great conversation that was. And like I said, one of my favorite things about it was just the seeing the difference from the freshman season of Bree McCombs, where she got to learn from pitching from Bree Callow, who was such a dominant presence in the circle. And then last year it was kind of all on Bree's shoulders. And now this year, kind of a mix of the two, where she's able to take a break from the circle, play first base, contributed to this team in other ways, but then she obviously still has that ace mentality. And that's one of the questions I really had to ask her, like, how do you keep that ace mentality and keep that that grit mentally when it's not really all on your shoulders anymore? How do you keep that mentality? And it was interesting to see how she's been able to do that, stepping into the circle every time, coming in, knowing with the confidence that I am going to shut this team down and I am going to do my job in the circle when it is my time to pitch. And like I said, splitting time pretty evenly with Bella O'Brien, and that's going to be a big factor when it comes to tournament time. Both those pitchers are going to be fresh, and we're already starting to see some pitchers that the teams have that um, they're the only ones that they can really throw. They're starting to feel it a little bit. We're starting to see some crooked numbers be put up, and you can attest that to possibly fatigue. It's not going to be a factor for McDonald because they have a pitching staff, and they have two players and two arms they can go to at any given time. So you can bet that O'Brien and McCombs will both be fresh and ready to go for tournament time. And, a lot of people say, oh, it's way too early to talk about tournament. They only have 10 games. Well, you look at the schedule, and tournament time is about a month away, like in reality. I mean, we got the last week of the regular season is May, that May 10th, 9th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. And even then, there are a lot of teams taking that week off. You look at our schedule, there aren't a lot of teams playing that week. And then the next week is softball tournaments. So going to be a fun time. Let's go into the night that is happening tonight. A lot of cancellations since the last time we kind of looked. So we'll go over the cancellations first. We'll go back up to the games that will be on the network, and then we'll also hit you up with some games that are still happening. Here are the cancellations. We'll start with baseball. Edgewood and Grand Valley. No shocker there. We got the picture live from Edgewood. It's not happening. There's snow on the ground in Ashtabula. That is not happening against Grand Valley. West Geauga and Lakeside, also in Ashtabula County. Not happening. Fitch at Cardinal Mooney is canceled. Brookfield at Newton Falls is canceled. Carrollton at Salem is not happening. Girard at Hubbard is canceled. Lakeview at Niles is canceled. Liberty at Champion is canceled. Maslin at Louisville has been canceled. Middle Ridge at Sebring has been canceled. South Range at Poland at South Range, excuse me. That was supposed to be Poland at South Range. That is canceled. Struthers at Jefferson has been canceled. Ursuline was supposed to go to Cheney. That's not happening. Harding at Boardman has been canceled, and so has Western Reserve at Waterloo. Here are the games that will be on the network for baseball. It's just one. Howland at Canfield on scene 1, 5 o'clock first pitch. Ian O'Brien will be there for the call. Let's go into softball cancellations. Cardinal at Lakeside has been canceled. Edgewood at Conneaut has been canceled. Brookfield at Newton Falls, not happening. Brunswick was supposed to travel to YSU to play Ursuline, as YSU softball is in Columbus with playing the Buckeyes. That's not happening. The Youngstown State's happening. Brunswick at Ursuline is not happening. Elyria at Hoban is canceled. Girard at Hubbard has been canceled. Jefferson at Struthers has been canceled. Lakeview at Niles has been canceled. Liberty at Champion, done. Middle Ridge at Sebring is not happening. Mogador at JFK is not happening. Boardman is not hosting Harding. West Branch and Salem has been canceled, and so has Western Reserve at Waterloo. There are going to be 2 softball games on the network, though, as we will have Howland at Canfield. I will be there. We will bundle up so you don't have to at Canfield. And then Ty as well. You might think, oh, Ty's in a press box, but you look up there, It's not a heated press box, and it's also not enclosed. So it's not like Ty's going to be sitting up there in the warm 80-degree box while everyone else is freezing. He's going to be exposed to the elements like all of us, and he'll be in Fitch as they host Painesville Riverside. The last team to beat Fitch at home is Riverside 2 years ago. So we'll see how that goes tonight. Some other games that are still happening, we'll go back up to baseball and hit you up with those as of now. Right, these are as of now. McDonald will still be at Springfield. Campbell still at Garfield. Crestview will still go to LeBray. Lowville still going to Jackson Milton. St. Thomas Aquinas still going to Warren JFK. And Steubenville Central Catholic still going to East Liverpool tonight. On the softball side of things, games that are happening, Campbell was still going to Garfield. Mooney is still going to East. Crestview still will be at LeBray. Lowville will still be at Jackson Milton. And McDonald is still going to be at Springfield as of now. Once again, still time for these games to drop. We don't know. I think some teams will be waiting to see if maybe the temperature breaks a little bit, if the wind dies down. Obviously, if the field's good to go by, I mean, like, they're not waiting to see if the field can be taken care of. It's either good or not. I think some teams are just waiting to see what the temperatures will be, because if the wind chill's like what it was early this afternoon, that's just too dangerous to go out and play games. I mean, I was out there at I would say at noon, and it felt like the wind chill was around the mid 20s, which is just not where you want to be with being outside and playing. So we'll see. I'm sure the Power Hour today will have more updates, and if more cancellations happen at 3 to 4, DJ will have that taken care of as well. That'll do it for today's show, though, from myself. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Like I said, I'll be in Canfield tonight for Howland at Canfield. Ty is going to be at Fitch for Riverside at Fitch, and then Ian O'Brien will be at Scene Park as Canfield and Howland play each other on Scene 1. All those games can be seen for free thanks to our wonderful sponsors. ysnlive.com/live is where you can find those games. I want to thank the people that were able to be guests on the show. I mean, even though they weren't live, they still gave us their time for those interviews. Addie Craven from West Branch and Bree McCombs from McDonald. If you missed those interviews or you missed a part of them and you want to see them in their entirety, they will eventually be on our YouTube page and our website, and is clipped as piece of content, so you can find it there. You can also go back and watch this episode of Running Point or any episode of any of our shows at any time archived on our YouTube channel. While you're over there, if you feel so inclined and you want to help us out, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell while you're at it too, because there are a lot of YouTube algorithms that get kind of weird, and you might miss something, and you don't want to miss any of the video content we put up. We keep that channel updated almost every day with video content, whether it be post-game interviews, game highlights, coaches' corners, these shows, player profiles. A lot of stuff goes up there. So make sure if you're subscribed to our YouTube page, you're also hitting that notification bell so you never miss a minute of the video content we put up on our channel. That'll do it for today's episode of Running Point. We'll be back tomorrow with Scotty Mincher in the house, and we'll have some fun with Scotty tomorrow. And, we'll see you then. Thank you.